And welcome to Unapologists Geek Out, the UGO podcast. I am, of course, your host, Nick, the Merc with a mic, and I'm here with my fellow Unapologist,
Travis,
the god of the pod himself. Actually, I was gonna say something different than UGO podcast. I heard one of our fellow podcasters from oneofus.net pronounce it Ugo, which actually is growing on me. I think it might be like, well, I don't know. Let's just try it out. And welcome to Unapologists Geek Out, or the Ugo podcast. No. I guess it was more romantic in my mind than when it actually came out. But yes, here's the nerdy show where you can to nerd out with me and Travis every week while we, go through what we've been binging and playing and all that stuff every week. And, all that good stuff. We got some news for the week, some of the geek news, and of course we are going to be talking about the DC movies today. Not the regular universe. We're talking about the animated universe.
It's the one that's potentially good.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I like that you threw that word potentially in there. getting my thoughts and feelings out of the way. Because I'll tell you what, guys, I think, I don't know how controversial it is, but I think DC animation now sucks. I think
not very good quality as it used to be.
I think you guys have made some really big downturns, but we'll get to that in the...
Not to bury the lead.
We'll get to that. Just wanted to make some announcements. If you're listening to this on Saturday as it comes out, we will be at Convergence, and that is in Minneapolis, and we'll have a fan table there. Come down and say hi to us. I'll be running a Gotham fan panel at 10 p.m. on Saturday nights, and Steven Universe, I think, at 10 a.m. in the morning, or is it 9 a.m. Of Sunday, I think. That'll be that morning for the kids, so they don't have to stay up late. And yeah, so that'll be our thing. The next cons we have coming up are KatsudaCon on July 21st, I think, is the Friday that
Something
it starts.
like that, yeah.
And it's the second weekend in July, and then the rest of that, the last weekend in July, will be in Austin for Anime Austin. And we'll be down there for the whole week, and it's going to be super fun. And then, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for announcements. I should announce that I am officially started writing for That's My Entertainment for our sister podcast, to Pod Against Evil, regarding Stand Against Evil. I am now the official Stand Against Evil correspondent writer for that site, so that's really fun. And I have my first article up right now, which got actually some play over on Twitter and stuff like that, which was really cool. Like John C. McGinley was like, I won't spoil anything, but your wish list is amazing and you won't be disappointed.
Nice.
So I'm like, from the man himself. I like that. It makes me feel reassured. I also got some great quotes from some other commenters. Like, I made a remark about millennials and someone gave me money advice. Someone gave me financial advice, which I was like, thank you. So I found that very entertaining. But yeah, that's what's been going on with me. Travis, what's been going on with you?
Oh, I've been just trying to watch any weird animes I can find lately.
Yeah, we watched a weird one. I forget what it's called.
Kakegurui, I think it is.
Yeah, it's about the one where the girl gets off on when she gambles.
Yeah.
She literally orgasms. She gambles. I say you had me watch the first 2 episodes of it's like a whole school system based off of gambling, which is weird to me. Like, I love in Japan you can just set anything in a school. Like fucking Ikki Tosen is just like, oh, well, our schools fight for dominance via this big battle royale, and I'm like, how is that even allowed? Like, I mean, I get the battle royale thing if it was just a tournament, but like throwing the school thing on top of it is like, who's in charge of these schools?
School settings are just a convenient plot device.
Like in this one, they don't even go to class.
No,
they don't do anything school related. It's just an excuse to have a bunch of people in the same building together that have a relatively similar outfit, so they don't have to spend a lot on art design.
It's just for convenience. That's all it is.
I'm just telling you, it's driving me crazy of just how they'll just throw anything into a school whatsoever. I forgot what else we were watching lately. I started you out on the end of the fucking world, which is a pretty dark comedy on Netflix. It's pretty fun. Yeah, I mean, almost caught up on My Hero Academia at this point. We took a break after the long.
Well, nothing else. They haven't been dubbed yet.
Yeah, so we took a break after. Plus, it just felt nice to take a break after the long, pretty much finished story arc from like the first one, where like with All Might's how all that shit ended up, which was pretty rad.
Yeah, it was pretty.
I thought that was
awesome
pretty
episode.
Cool. I'm into that show, so I
There's like 2 episodes I think subbed, and as far as I know, the dubs haven't come out yet, which is strange because they're usually really fucking quick on that one.
Right. Not to mention that there's a new Fate series on Netflix, which
I watched all of it.
Which is like it's added like okay, so the Fate series is already fucking confusing because it's okay. So it's mages battle each other. I'm like okay, got it, mage battle. No, but they also summon servants. Oh, okay, cool, like familiars. Okay, gotcha. No, wait. On top of that, they're also historical figures that they summon, like really famous historical figures that have powers based off of what they did in life. Oh, okay, sure, that seems like a lot, but that's interesting, cool. Oh, also, almost none of them look anything like what they looked like in before. Some of them aren't even in the same gender. Why? Never explained. Like, never even
because the artist wanted to have fun.
And we need hot chicks wielding bladed weapons, and what we're gonna do? Actually, have Joan of Arc in there? Pff, no, we'll just make King Arthur a chick. It's like okay, fine.
But Joan of Arc is in there.
All of that. Oh, is Joan of Arc? Oh,
Remember?
Yes. Actually, she's in the second one. I forgot.
Well,
I keep thinking of her as Joan d'Arc when they say it.
Yeah.
In that douchey way that they say it. And then on this top one, there's like, okay, but there's also a virtual reality, and I'm like, stop. It's officially too much. I feel like we have gone as far as we can with this premise.
I've watched all of that new one on Netflix, and it's pointless. There's literally no point to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, anyway, should we get to the news?
Sure.
We have the news of the week, Travis. Some interesting stories I wanted to get to. This one's a spoiler, so we'll save it for the end. We'll save that one for the end. Okay. And then, I am, you said before we were digging on some of the Netflix series, although Netflix is now introducing a new model there, and a new policy that might upset some people.
Okay.
Netflix is officially deleting all user reviews this summer. So you will not be able to, is removing all user feedback and opinions on their vast collection of television shows and movies. Netflix is officially deleting all of its user reviews. The review purge will go into effect this summer, with roughly 125 million subscribers worldwide and hundreds of original programs.
So why are they deleting all their comments?
Let's see if I can get a quote from them.
Because that seems a really random thing to do.
Also, you can leave comments and reviews on Netflix. I have not known this.
Yeah.
All I know is that you can do the star thing.
Right.
That's the star thing, right? And I thought that was just for me to help with the algorithm anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't know other people were like seeing that. No, there doesn't seem to be a reason here.
Okay, it's random.
So, I mean, I guess I should be more upset at this than I feel like I am, because I don't really feel anything about it. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I never really even thought about it before.
It seems
it is
random.
I mean, it is a service, like, it's a user service that's now can't, especially since now they're going to their original programming. Wouldn't you think that would be a time where comments and feedback and ratings system would be even more helpful?
You think.
But then again, I guess what really matters is Netflix's internal numbers of what people are actually watching. Like, it doesn't really matter for them if the people watching it like it. They just gotta watch it. And I guess when you're watching with a company like that, where it's not a cable network, you're not just watching stuff just because it's on. You are actively picking everything that you're watching. You can make the argument that well, if they don't like it, they won't watch it anymore, and then we take those numbers and we adjust it off of that. Which I would completely understand, actually, if that's the user feedback, it's just not that helpful. Maybe it's all it's really doing is hurting and letting people not it's they see reviews or something that they won't even give something a chance. So I could see it that way.
Just the thing with Netflix is that it keeps everything so secretive on what it does that
I know.
It's hard to predict anything that they'll do or why they do it.
It's such a weird fucking service that we all use and seem to just kind of accept as this thing that is always in our lives. Speaking of things that have always been our lives, but maybe shouldn't be anymore, we have Indiana Jones 5. I don't know if we've talked about this before.
I think we've mentioned it.
So they're talking about a 2020 release date for this movie. They don't know if it'll be Harrison Ford or is it... They said this will probably be the final adventure for Harrison Ford as the character, although they won't know if Indy 5 will pave the way for another actor to take over the franchise. And Spielberg, they got Spielberg back for it. And, yeah. So, I think I've been on the front of, like, no more... I think I've always been on the front of, like, no more Indiana Jones movies, that they were worked once and they were kind of in their own thing. I think I've softened on that a little bit.
Really?
Well, hear me out on this. One, I think there should be rules making an Indiana Jones movie.
Okay.
And a lot of these rules are from Crystal Skull, where like we didn't know these rules until we broke them. We don't go out of the 40s.
No,
we
stay
don't
there
leave,
forever.
We don't leave the 40s. Like that's Indiana Jones belongs in a place where he's punching Nazis. That's the place he belongs, and that's good. The Red Scare thing that they did in the next one, it was okay, but it was like Indiana Jones fights the Cold War it's a different it's a different thing. When you think Cold War, you don't think Indiana Jones running around fucking shit up.
No.
Like, say what you want about World War II, it was a more interesting war. Like, you know, we have Hitler with all the fucking occult things he was doing. We give reasons for why they might be after supernatural shit.
Right. No, on a storytelling level, it's more interesting.
Yeah, like it's so we don't do that. 2, no more Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is bored and he's tired now, and he doesn't really want to act in anything that he doesn't find particularly interesting. We've seen that from a lot of his performances, and I think I did like him in Force Awakens, but I think he knew that that was his last role as the character, which is why he put forth any effort into it. So if you can have him in this one as long as he knows and everybody else knows this is the last time, motherfucker. And I think you really should just go with a new actor.
So who do you want as the new actor?
My original want was Chris Pratt, because basically that's what he's playing in the Jurassic World movies.
Fair enough.
Like he's basically playing Raptor Wrangler Indiana Jones. Because you think about that character, he's a little sexist. He feels like a guy from the 40s.
Yeah.
Like he feels like a 40s protagonist that doesn't really realize about the stuff that he's doing. I mean, I would also throw in, he's too old now, but Timothy Olyphant would have been a good pick earlier in his career. That's the thing about Indiana Jones, is that I think now I think about it, everyone that I thought might be perfect has aged out of the role. And especially fucking Harrison Ford.
Oh, yeah.
Because you want someone a little bit younger and doing most of their own stunts and stuff. And
then if you actually want to continue a franchise, you want to pick someone who is kind of in their prime.
yeah, especially, if you want a franchise, you need someone in their, like, you know, mid to late 20s, at least. Oh, God, I'm just coughing all over the place today. Sorry, guys. And you were never a big fan of Indiana Jones to begin with anyway.
Nah.
So, you have any input on this one? Not really?
I don't care one way or the other, to be honest.
All right, how about this? We got, you've been to Reddit before, right?
Yeah.
So, Reddit is a cesspool of, that only the internet can produce. Which, with few bright spots in it.
That's true about most of the internet, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's true about Tumblr and a lot of the other social media. Like, I hold that true about Twitter and Facebook and all the social media I actually use. I just don't actively use Reddit that much. So this one really caught my eye, though, because apparently there was a Thanos subreddit. And I think it was just a couple days ago, it just randomly, at some point, banned half its users.
So there is balance in the world. That's funny.
I find that very funny.
Now, how did they decide which users to ban?
I would assume it would have to be random.
It has to
would
be.
have to be random. Like that, if you're going to do it fair, it'd have to be random. And wouldn't that be great if some of the administrators of the thing banned themselves?
That would be great.
So yeah, I guess they did it the day before the 4th of July. So happy Independence Day, guys.
Reddit's just a weird place, man.
Yeah, so the admins are designing a bot for me that will allow me to do the job in a quick and easy manner. Oh, it doesn't say if it would be random or not. But yeah, I would suppose that what would be great is if all the random people that got deleted, they got deleted, but then suddenly they popped up in another subreddit,
like a subreddit of itself,
a subreddit of like maybe they're inside the Soul Gem, inside the Soul Gem subreddit. Like that's so. You know what? I tip my hat to you, Reddit. That was a fun story for me to read.
That'd be pretty meta.
So this is the spoiler story that I wanted to get to. So if anyone who's not caught up on Batman and Catwoman's wedding, and you don't want to remain unspoiled on it, leave now. So Batman and Catwoman had their wedding issue recently, and I didn't care for it. And the reason is that they didn't get married.
Yeah, that was like spoiled a while ago, actually.
So I know, and like I was trying to avoid it even though everyone knows this would happen, but the context of it is even fucking worse.
I didn't actually read the article, I was just like, well, that's dumb. I kind of continued on.
They apparently at the very end of the comic they don't like get married because one of Catwoman's friends she breaks out of Arkham to go to the wedding or whatever. Talks to her about it and says like, I can't believe I've seen Batman this happy before. Oh my goodness, I thought he'd have to be miserable to do what he does, I thought that's what drove him. And apparently that innocuous comment is what drove Selina to write him a letter. Like they both write letters to each other about how much they love each other, only Selina's ends with, and I have to sacrifice this for the world. I have to sacrifice my love for you, and I have to let you go because you can't be Batman and be happy at the same time. And it's so bullshit. Like, oh god. I mean, it's not Mephisto coming in and erasing a marriage, but it's pretty fucking stupid. And it's just contrived, and I'm really sick of this illusion. Like, now they're not even offering an illusion of change. Right. Now it's just, like, teasing us with, like, oh, look at this major...
This could happen.
Look at this major change that we will tease and then not do. And apparently, it shows later that Hope goes to Bane and was like, "Aha! Now I know. Now my plan has come to fruition. I have broken the Bat. He's heartbroken now." Apparently, this was a big plan by Bane and some of the supervillains to break the Batman psychologically. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. And I'm like, let them get married. Let's see what that works out like. Yeah. Like, let's see how they work. Maybe their relationship does fucking totally implode after they're married, and they're like, man, we really can't do this, can we? That might be interesting to watch for like 6 months or whatever. Yeah.
Or heck, make it like, oh, hey, Selina has to make sure she stays straight the whole entire time, and Batman actually has to change his ways a little bit.
I know, like, because that's always what got me about the relationship is that, like, oh man, we do love each other, when it's like, yeah, but you gotta stop breaking the law. Like, yeah, okay, I will. I mean, for now. Like, there's, like, that's the push and pull of the relationship.
But the thing is that technically Batman also breaks the law, he just doesn't take anything.
Yeah, I know.
So if you, like, change it around to that way...
So in what you present isn't interesting because it provides... the two people would have to compromise a little bit. Yeah. And go like, okay... What if I steal from bad people?
It's still like they're both kind of a moral gray area. Like, so I mean, they just have to shift the shader around.
What if they just sit down one night and they bargain with it? Like, like
a kink list. Like, okay, so I can steal from these guys. Oh god,
it's like you just let that shit go like that, or maybe how about if I steal this much worth of jewelry, I donate this much money to a charity? Like, what gets me out of this? Like, loophole that you have. Like
that seems way more interesting.
Like, so I find that very disappointing. Just that, like, I know that comics, half of their appeal is that they last forever and that the characters, you never have to watch your favorite characters die or grow old and that sort of thing. But it also invites these little things that are like, well, I mean, what can we do with this character that hasn't already been done?
Right. There's a little bit of stagnatism there.
Like, no one dies anymore, everything comes back. Even the characters that do die and get replaced, so only like they may even wait 10 years, but then they'll get replaced later, like with Kyle Rayner and Hal Jordan or Wally West and Barry Allen. And it's like, yeah, I really don't I would find it much more interesting if Batman and Catwoman were married, and like maybe you know what, they probably even wouldn't be a team because that they probably wouldn't work well together.
Yeah.
But you know, like, what are they doing like out at night when they have to like be home later? And plus, that's a relationship that could work because it's not like he has to lie to her at all or anything like that. Like, it's one of the few relationships that in his life that could work. I don't know. I just want love to conquer all, I guess, is my thing.
It would be funny for him to leave, like, honey, I'm going out to get milk. Why are you lying? I don't know. I don't know.
Reaction. It's like, yeah, you're right. I'm going to fight crime. Sorry about that. Like, it's just a thing that I do.
But pick up milk on your way back.
But definitely pick up milk.
We do need milk.
So yeah, break that guy's clavicle, but then definitely remember to pick up milk.
Just imagine Batman waiting in line at a grocery store.
Would that be? You just wait in line with milk, just like. So, got a date with Catwoman, huh? Oh, did the milk give it away? You want a saucepan with that, sir? You know what, Reggie? Go fuck yourself.
Sorry, I'm really late. I have to break another guy's clavicle.
I need to take shit from you, Reggie. The cashier's name is Reggie in Gotham. Everyone knows that.
Yes.
Apparently.
It's a well-known fact.
Alright, so we're going to take a small musical break right here, and we'll come back with the DC animated talk right after this.
In the darkest night, I make the bad guys fall. There's a million heroes. Computer overcompensate, but I'm the best of them all.
I'm on my way, sir.
Who has the coolest gadget? Who has the tricked out ride? Who does the sickest backflips?
Alright, we are back, and we are here talking about some DC animated films. What's on the docket today? Why we are talking about what we watched recently, Travis.
Well, the last one we watched was Batman Ninja.
We watched Batman Ninja. We will get to that in a second. Harley Quinn, Batman and Harley Quinn, Teen Titans and Judas Contract, and Suicide Squad Hell to Pay.
Yep.
Were some of the more recent ones we have watched. I think I've watched almost all of the Batman, or all of the animated universe. I don't think I've watched Gotham by Gaslight.
No, that one looked interesting.
Like, that one I did want to watch at some point, and I didn't get a chance to watch it before this recording.
Then again, Batman Ninja also looked interesting.
So, you have watched some of them via when we watched them. I don't think you've watched as many. You haven't watched any of the Justice League ones, have you? Like the new ones where they based it off the New 52.
I watched some of them, I think.
You watched Flashpoint Paradox, and the previous Suicide Squad movie.
Mm-hmm. And I watched the Teen Titans versus Justice League one.
Right.
Which made a little sense.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about this a little bit just because I always see those memes running around of like, Marvel is like the DC fans will have these memes like Marvel has better movies. Like it is doing better in movies, but then and another thing is like, yeah, but DC is kicking their asses in comics, video games, animation, and all these other things. It's like, Marvel can only have the one thing that works, and I'm like, I don't agree with that in animation anymore.
No,
I mean, I feel like DC is still probably beating Marvel, but only by the slightest of margins. Now
that's just because Marvel doesn't really produce anything very much either. Like, they just
Marvel does produce stuff. They just don't produce, like, DC is interesting because they have their own prestigious animated video releases.
Yeah.
And Marvel doesn't really do that.
No.
They keep it with TV shows and animated shows, which DC also does. But now Marvel used to have it with Earth's Mightiest Avengers and Spectacular Spider-Man, but now they have Ultimate Spider-Man and Avengers and Guardians. They actually have an impressive... I've realized that Marvel has an impressive lineup of animated shows that I'm not watching.
Right.
And, so there's that. I'm actually surprised there's not an X-Men show on right now. An animated one, anyway. There's a couple live-action ones. Maybe that's why they're not doing it. But yeah, and also like, their TV games, like, but DC's TV game is good too. It's like, not recently.
Yeah.
So
that, and like, do they really produce any good games besides the Batman ones?
I mean, the Batman games are pretty good. A lot of people will contest that those are the best superhero games. But Marvel also has the Spider-Man games, which came out maybe a little bit further ago. But the Batman games are kind of older now too. Like, they didn't come out like just last year or anything. And now we're looking down at the pipe at an Insomniac Spider-Man game. It looks pretty rad. So I want to talk about some of these animated releases we were talking about. And you know what? Why don't we just start with Batman Ninja? Because why don't we start from the bottom and work our way up? This movie was bullshit.
It was pretty bad.
God, this movie sucks so hard. And I'll tell you what, like, as we were watching it, I could not accept at how bad the animation is. And I mean, maybe not even the animation, but although the animation was kind of janky too, but just the character design and 3D modeling was like, what a fucking mistake.
Yeah.
The whole idea of doing Batman Ninja or doing a Japanese Batman series is to have the Japanese art style and to have Batman fight with fucking kunai and throwing stars and all that bullshit. And we're gonna get rid of one of the coolest things about Japanese animation, which was the over the top extreme 2D animated stuff,
and make it like mostly 3D.
It's mostly but then it'll randomly be 2D. There's just random elements that are 2D. Not to mention this whole middle segment where where Joker and Harley Quinn get amnesia both at the same time, but. And it turns into just unfinished fucking art stills. And it's like, what is this? Like, oh, man. So the basic story of Batman Ninja is Batman and some of these, what do you call it? Some of his villains.
Gorilla Grodd creates a time machine.
Yeah, Gorilla Grodd takes a time machine in Arkham. He's gonna sell it, or he was gonna throw them all into back in time or something so that he could take over Gotham without any competition, which doesn't make any sense on its face because he would fuck up the timeline so hard if he threw them in the past. He'd have to plan on throwing them in the future, but we don't even know if that was his original plan anyway. But anyway, Batman fucks that plan all up, and him and a bunch of the other characters get sucked up into a time portal, and he ends up back in ancient Japan. Why the time travel thing makes sense. Why do they end up geographically in a completely different place in the world? I don't know.
Because the Earth spins and
Batman's been dropped off 2 years after everybody else.
Yeah,
which you'd think that okay, maybe it was because he was farthest away, but we see other characters that were way farther away than him also get sucked up and got dropped way earlier than him.
Just for
everyone else got dropped in 2 years ago, and then he got dropped 2 years after. It's no like gradient of when people got dropped. It was those guys and then Batman. And so that's I think one of the biggest problems with this movie is just that it overcomplicates its premise so much.
Yeah, like going into this movie, I didn't realize it was supposed to be time travel. I just thought it was going to be Batman set in ancient Japan.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? Of like, hey, he's a samurai lord, but maybe he has to keep his identity a secret, and the whole Batman mythos, but like in Japan, and it's like, oh, cool. So yeah, they don't do that. So they have everyone just go back in time, and it's really dumb. Like
worse than dumb, it's just kind of boring.
It makes everything else not make sense either. Like, Bane shows up for one scene as a sumo wrestler and only speaks Japanese. And it's like, if in your scenario that you said, that would not have fazed me.
No, that would have been fine.
Because that's just, that's Bane, he's a sumo wrestler.
Yeah, cameo, gone.
Yeah, and then he's gone. But in the context of everyone got transported back in time, you can't help but ask yourself, what the fuck was that? Why did he only speak in Japanese? Why is he a sumo wrestler? What the fuck is going on? And that's not the only point where you'll ask what the fuck is going on in this movie, because this movie only gets crazier and crazier as the thing goes on.
But it only goes full balls crazy, like, towards the end.
Yeah.
For only, like, 2 scenes.
Otherwise, it's pretty boring. Like, there's a whole Bat Clan, and then they have to team up with Gorilla Grodd at some point. The guy they have voicing Joker isn't that great.
Yeah.
The lip sync is all fucked up because it's harder for 3D, I think, for the lip sync out of it. And maybe the Japanese version of it made more sense. And then we got the English dub version. Sometimes that happens. But this was so redonkulous that I can't believe in any language it makes any sort of sense whatsoever.
Then, like, the first person he meets after fighting the Joker and Harley is Catwoman, who proceeds to say, like, he's like, well, where's Robin? Like, oh, I haven't seen any of the Robins around. Like, you've been here for 2 years. How did none of the Robins find you or you find them?
Japan isn't that big of a fucking place. Like, it's not that big. Like, if you figure if there's giant monkeys and people in masks running around, you might hear about where some of them are.
But no, they're ninjas, so they couldn't be found.
So, and we'll get to some of the ninja techniques they use later, but, like, I don't know, like, there's something really dumb about them coming back and, like, oh man, Joker's already fucking with the timeline. He's teaching about coal production.
Yeah.
And it's like the Industrial Revolution shouldn't happen for another 100 years or something. And then they try and sell you on, oh, Joker also turned his fucking daimyo castle into a giant fuck-off robot. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what? And then you can only assume because, like, well, Japan likes giant robots, right?
Yep.
And not only does he have a giant robot, everybody has a giant robot. Mm-hmm. Penguin has a giant robot.
With penguins still.
With penguins in it. And he has penguins, even though I'm like, where the fuck did he get those penguins? Like, were the penguins in Arkham with him? You know what? I'm not going to pull at this. Deathstroke's got a giant robot. Two-Face has a giant robot that switches faces. That's funny. And
but it was also like Hindu based.
Yeah, it was also wasn't that weird? Like he's got this what do you call it? Like a Shiva sort of like thing.
I forget the actual name, but
and it's like, wait a minute, what? But baffling of all, Poison Ivy has a giant robot. Like and it's like, wait. No, Poison Ivy is the exact opposite of a tech superhero. Why does he have a giant robot? And it gets explained later that, like, well, Gorilla Grodd might have been manipulating them via his mind control. I'm like, well, maybe that explains it. But then that doesn't sort of make sense later either. Mm. They form together to make fucking Batman Voltron, like, giant robot sort of thing.
So that's the part I actually liked. It's like, okay, now we're going full stupid.
All these fucking monkeys form together to create a giant monkey. And it's like... Oh boy. And then even Robin has just a random, like, hey, this is my monkey. I can understand him. Okay.
Yep.
Like, we'll just blow right by why fucking Robin can understand. And also, is that Damian? Because he doesn't act like Damian whatsoever.
I don't think it was Damian.
But he must be Damian because we see Nightwing, right?
Yeah.
That's Dick.
And Robin.
We see Red Robin. That's Tim. And then we see Robin. So that's gotta be Damian, unless this is an alternate timeline Jason. And it's like...
He didn't act like Damian.
No, he did not act like Damian. He acts like Tim, but Tim should be Red Robin. So I don't know where the fuck... And then, no, he can't be Jason Todd, because Red Hood is also there.
Yes.
So all the Robins are there. It's just that little kid Robin, who should be Damian, is not acting like him
was
whatsoever.
Red Robin there now?
Yeah, Red Robin was there.
Okay.
He fights Penguin near the end. Or Deathstroke, or one of those fights that I don't remember because they're boring looking. The hand-to-hand fights in this movie suck.
Well, it's because of the 3D animation.
Yeah, it sucks so hard. The only thing that does look good are the giant robot fights. Which is like that one, the 3D is not so fucking distracting.
And can we talk about the fact that Alfred's randomly there for no reason?
Why the fuck is Alfred there? Like, he's like, well, I was in the Batmobile at the time the time portal came around, and then it's like, whoa, wait a minute. One, why were you in the fucking Batmobile? Two, if the time thing could grab you out of the Batmobile when you were off somewhere outside of Arkham out of the Batmobile, where the fuck is everybody else
in Arkham?
In Arkham and around Arkham, because you know that they got some random homeless people in there too. Like again, really should have just went with it's Batman in Samurai times, Samurai Batman. Let's go.
Yep. And then when he meets Catwoman, like, you have to get you a disguise. So he goes as like a Christian priest, and he's got the fucking like
the bat symbol,
the bald spot
on his fucking head. So if I am hiding from people that want to know where I am, I think I'm gonna brand my fucking symbol into the topmost part of my body in a great big fucking signal to anyone that might be looking for me. That was so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like...
And that caused a double take where I'm like, that's not actually there, is it?
And again, of course, later his hair grows back, too, like, randomly, of like, wait, what? And then, of course, Catwoman betrays them for, like, no reason. And then it's like, oh, well, you know, that's what she does, because she's Catwoman. And what's weird about it is that all the voice talent is different than any other iteration, except for Harley Quinn and... Catwoman are both voiced by Tara Strong and Gray Griffin, respectively. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, it's weird hearing those voices from previous incarnations, but everyone else is completely different.
Right.
And their dialogue gets very sexual near the end, which is really weird. Like, they did a sexual type of back and forth with their fighting. and it's I don't know why that was there. That's going to be a running theme in a lot of these animated series or animated movies, is that this running sexual overtones. That's weird. Which I think we'll get into our next one after we wrap this one up here. Any final thoughts on Batman Ninja?
You didn't go stupid enough?
Yeah, I think that it really should have maintained it simpler. I'm going to show you. There's an actual animated anime Batman that short on YouTube that's actually pretty cool, where Batman fights Catwoman and Bane, which is kind of neat.
Well, the trailer for this one sold as really fun.
Yeah,
and then this movie was just bullshit.
Yeah. So should we talk about?
But let's not forget the fact that the giant monkeys also eventually get fused with swarm of bats to form a giant Batman.
Oh God! So yeah, and then they how they summon it is by doing the bat fucking the bat song on the flute. Oh God, this movie is so fucking stupid. Like, it's just so bad. But anyway,
and eventually Batman literally learns how to teleport via bats during combat.
Mm-hmm. Well, that he learned the substitution jutsu,
right?
Like they all learned
jutsu.
Yeah, that's one of the things that actually did make sense to me, is that the creators of this definitely watched Naruto and were like, oh, we want to make that into Batman. So that's where we are right now. Anyway, should we move on to our next one?
Sure. Are we going to high or low now?
So our next one will be Harley Quinn, or Batman and Harley Quinn, is what we watched. So this one, okay, I would say if I had not watched Batman Ninja first, or did we watch that one after?
We watched that one after.
Okay, so for me, Harley Quinn and Batman was probably the worst DC animated movie I'd seen up until Batman Ninja.
Really?
I don't like it. And what's weird about it is that it's actually a lot better than Batman Ninja in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But inherently it has some problems. And I felt like when I was watching, I'm like, I think Travis is getting a lot more out of this than I am.
I thought it was just funny.
For me, I would have been cool if it was just this fun kind of farcical of a movie and it was just fun. But there's just weird fucking elements in it because Bruce Timm, I love Bruce Timm, don't get me wrong. He's responsible for Batman the Animated Series and why we have the 90s animated renaissance, and everything can be traced back to him and even his early work on Freakazoid. But he has this weird fucking sexual thing that he's working out with some of these Batman characters right now.
Yeah, I did not I don't need that part.
Look, we're not even gonna get into the Killing Joke where he's always been about Batgirl and Batman's fucking weird relationship, and I'm like, I'm not into that. And on a similar note, this whole Harley Quinn tying up Nightwing and kind of not quite raping him, but there's dubious consent.
Yeah,
and
it's okay, well, after he's been tied up and she announces that she's going to have sex with him, he's like, I'm okay with this. I'm like,
And I'm like, I don't know if this is sending a good message here at all. But what's weird about it is that is such an adult situation. While there's so many other things that happen in the movie that make you think it's definitely for kids.
No, this movie mixes the Bruce Timm's Batman with the Adam West Batman.
The tone is all over the fucking place. All over. Crazy. Also, for whatever reason, they switched up the voice actress for Harley Quinn to Melissa Roche. Rather than Tara Strong. And for me, I'm just I don't understand why even.
Yeah, especially in Batman Ninja, that's one of the voice actors that was the same.
I get if you're going to change up the whole cast, but they changed no one else but her. It's still Kevin Conroy as Batman. And I think the one thing I do like about this story is that, one, no Joker, gets rid of that shit. We don't need Harley Quinn can survive without Joker in the storyline, so that's pretty cool. I like post Joker relationship Harley, where she's always got this damage of I was in an abusive relationship, but that no longer defines me completely as a character. I think that adds a lot of pathos to her and makes us sympathize with her and makes her a lot more interesting than just Joker's sidekick. So I think that's good. Also, this movie is really funny in some places, which is why I don't disregard it completely, is that it is really funny, even though some of that humor comes at the sacrifice of what type of movie are we even making? Like the Floronic Man, which is a dumb name for a villain, but he is teamed up with Poison Ivy, and they're fucking murdering guards. Like there's blood and everything, and Batman is in the middle of like this bartending thing, and we just stop with a fucking musical break for no reason. And I'm like, what movie are we watching? Like pick a tone and fucking stick with it. Like, it'd be weird if, like, you know, I mean, if like something like Deadpool suddenly got really really into one of the one of like the serious side stories and really got self-serious all of a sudden, and I don't know, like,
well, then there's the whole thing where like Batman like blackmails like one of the Argus guys because he likes BDSM, and like,
yeah, what a shitty thing for Batman to do.
Like, that's weird.
What a way to judge Batman,
especially since like you walk in on your like Nightwing being tied up and having sex with Harley Quinn.
Yeah, and so I don't get what the movie's trying to say. Like, why? And then everything is played up for this like sexual joke or whatever, and it's like, well, I don't like, Batman doesn't like threaten people by like, I'm going to destroy your careers, or like ruin your public reputation for like that. Like that would suck. That's like a jump away from like him like outing him as gay or something.
Yeah,
like that paints Batman in a really shitty light. Like, just threaten to physically assault him like you do with everybody else.
Right.
Like, yeah,
that's fine.
Like, that's cool. Like, we've all accepted that.
I mean, it's just kind of standard by now.
Like, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying Batman's a perfect human being. I mean, he still dresses up as a bat and assaults people.
No, he's fucked up.
So, I mean, we just want to keep it to a certain level to where we can still have fun watching him. I also like the relationship between Harley Quinn and a Poison Ivy. I thought that was really cool. It comes in only at the last 30 minutes, where the only really big significant stuff happens to it. I wish Batman wasn't in this movie. I wish it was a Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy movie. Like, that's what I thought it was. Just like, you know, Batman doesn't have to be in all of these guys. Like, as much as DC wants to have its all prestigious, like, oh, we have our own prestigious animated line of movies, and get all of them are either Batman, Superman, or Justice League related. I don't see like I think that's why, we'll talk about it in a minute, Suicide Squad was such a breath of fresh air in regards to that. And yeah, I mean, there's that, and then Harley Quinn has this weird singing sequence where she sings an original song in her like Brooklyn accent, which makes no sense, and I don't get when movies do this. People don't sing songs in the accent. Like, you know, they did that in fucking Pitch Perfect 2, where the German team sang songs with German accents. And I was like, that's not how that works. I've watched international singing competitions. People sing it in the accent that the person that originally sang it, if they're singing a cover, they sing it in that. Like, that seems so weird to me. But that, I don't know, that was, I found that to be kind of odd. And then there's some other things about the movie, like Swamp Thing comes in at the very end and does jack shit. He doesn't do anything. I get that that's the joke, but also it's a weird anticlimax to go off on, of like, so why did you even show up, dude? Like, and also it ends with with this Floronic Man, like, how can we beat him? Like, he seems so indestructible. And then Harley Quinn's even like, well, he's made out of plants. Maybe let's just set him on fire. Yeah. And I was like, seriously, no one's thought of, like, maybe set the plant guy on fire? Like, what the fuck? And then they like, oh, you're so brilliant, and then they go out on this double kiss, which also I thought was weird. Yeah, that was like, weird. Like, Nightwing I get, because they just had sex or something, like, maybe that would happen, but Batman and her both doing it, and her going, aw, shucks, and I was like, that's weird. I don't like that.
I think the main thing you have to go into watching this one is that you see like the Bruce Timm art style. You have to ignore that.
Yeah, and I think that's what was fucking with me, because I thought I was watching a really fucked up version of Batman the Animated Series episode, and I was like, oh, what the hell?
No,
like,
you're basically watching like the Adam West Batman with a different coat of paint.
Well, even the opening sequence is done in that fun animated style of like, you know, what's it? Like little
kind of shitty, like Fairly Odd Parents almost.
Yeah. Like, and I thought that was fun. Also, I kind of like the idea of there's a superhero Hooters.
Yes.
That
was great.
I was like, oh shit! And you know what? What's great about that is that would totally happen.
Oh, totally.
Like I'm imagine, like you got to imagine they would have to like any Hooters or any like strip club that's around Comic-Con. You got to imagine they must be doing that when Comic-Con comes around, right? Or if they were smart, they totally would be. Like because like in a universe where everything's all superheroes, I love that they had like a bunch of Starfire, Power Girl, and all these other ones were walking around. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And it even ends on a cool note where it was actually the bar's policy not to touch the girls or whatever. And like the patronage was on Harley's side when she gets harassed.
It's like, it's like she broke my arm. Yeah, well, you touched her, so fuck off.
And it's like he looks at the sign and is like, hey, look but don't touch, assholes. Like, and I just thought that was like, oh man, that was cute. A cute way to introduce something that is inherently like, oh look, we are an animated movie, so we can be a little naughtier, but it's still kind of like not I didn't find it completely.
Don't be gross about it.
Like I didn't find it gross. So I was like, oh okay, that was fun. Of course, it's followed up by Harley Quinn tying Nightwing to a fucking post. And you know what really fucked me up about that too is that she mentions like, oh, so you used to be the boy Wonder, huh? Like, I can't imagine you running around in those little tights. And I'm like, yeah, and weren't you like 20 when he was running around in little boy tights? And then right after you mention how you remember him as a kid, you then fuck him. Like, that's a weird train of thought that you just had.
It is a little fucked up.
I don't like that. I don't like it. And then for me, it's the same thing of like, when Batman and Batgirl hook up, and it's like, well, there is an age difference, but Batgirl was in college, so she's at least 20. It's like, that's not the fucked up part about it. If the fucked up part about it is that there's a father-daughter thing going on between them two, and even if we ignore that, it's him fucking his best friend's daughter. That's weird and wrong, but yeah, so call me very mixed on this one, but this one I'm like, I didn't regret watching it.
No, I like this one better than Batman Ninja. I think still has a lot of problems.
I think that the problem here is that this one director has taken over for a lot of these movies. Sam Liu, who did Batman Bad Blood, which I'm sorry, that one was definitely the worst one ever since Batman Ninja. I really don't like Batman Bad Blood. I think that one's bullshit. Also, he did The Killing Joke, which I thought was fucking stupid, and he did Beware the Batman, which I'm on record as on hating. But he also did some Young Justice, and he did Suicide Squad. So they basically made him kind of the Kevin Feige or the showrunner for the DC animated universe. He's the director on almost all of them, and I don't know how much input he has over the animators and the writers anyway, considering his position, but. I do notice that they've that these DC animated movies have become a little bit more generic.
Yeah.
Ever since they flipped the New 52 thing on them. Which, speaking of, should we talk about the Teen Titans movie for a little bit? Teen Titans, The Judas Contract, which was a movie that I can kind of remember, I guess. So, I think the real problem here is that there's no point to this movie when we had a Teen Titans show do this already much better.
Yeah. And like the problem with this one I really had was that Tara's a bitch in this one. And it's like, okay. I mean, ignore the fact that I already know what's going to happen anyway. This is more like...
She's doing a bad job infiltrating.
Yeah, I don't care like if you get betrayed or betray them because I don't like you.
Yeah, and also... Tara is a new character introduced for this movie. Right. So we have this movie to build a kind of relationship with her in order for us to care about her ultimate turn as a bad guy. Oh, sorry, I spoiled the Judas Contract for you. But yeah, that's what happens when you base a fucking movie off of like a really famous comic book, is that some of that shit gets spoiled. Kind of like putting Doomsday in your fucking Superman movie. Yeah. And so it would have been one thing if she should have been in Teen Titans versus the Justice League. Yeah. That way we know her as an established character, and we're not like, we think like, oh man, maybe she could, like, maybe she won't be part of the team, or maybe she can come in at the part of as the team later. And then of course she makes her like there's nothing new with the Tara storyline other than they throw in the thing from the comics, which was a squeaky thing where her and Deathstroke were actually fucking, and they throw it in here where she's trying to seduce Deathstroke because that's what these DC anime movies think is cool and adult now, is sex.
Yeah.
And you see that with Nightwing and Starfire being the daycare kids for the Teen Titans, in which they're like, oh, mom and dad are talking about having sex, and...
So I actually kind of like their relationship in the movie.
Oh, yeah, they're the best things about that movie. Damian is getting slightly better and less of a dick as the movies go on.
But he also gets taken out for a lot of this movie.
Oh, yeah, he's very much not in there for this. And I love he even talks shit to Deathstroke to like, trying to bait me, kid, huh? You know what? Well, it's worth it. And he just does hit him.
It's working.
Like, yeah, fuck it. Trying to get a rise out of me, huh? Yeah, you know what? I'll let you have this one. I need to hit you in the face. So, yeah, there's no tension there. None of the other Teen Titans get any story to them whatsoever.
Except for they try to plug story in, like they give Jaime like this whole like soup kitchen thing.
Yeah, and it's like that goes nowhere.
Yeah,
and then
it kind of goes somewhere because he like reconciles with his dad at the end,
right? And because he's been away from his family, because he's one of those superheroes that didn't keep his secret identity away from his family. So there's that tension going in. So like he gets that side story. Raven gets basically nothing. Beast Boy gets his sort of romance with Tara that he's trying to do. It seems like they want Robin and Raven to have this sort of relationship where they might be setting up something more romantic in a later movie. But then again, we've had 3 movies now of this shit, or no, 2 Teen Titans movies, 3 with Robin or 3 Robin movies. But we've had a couple of these movies to try and set that up, and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
Well, they move in together.
Well, I mean, Nightwing and Starfire do, but Raven and Robin, yeah, Raven and Robin have a little slight thing.
Yeah, there's that.
Like, and I don't know if they're ever going to go anywhere with that. Otherwise, Raven, like, doesn't really have much to do anyway. I think the problem is with these ensemble movies that they start off as ensemble movies, and we only have an hour and a half.
Still doesn't make sense because again, Teen Titans, the New 52, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I could fucking, and then like when Deathstroke shows up, I'm like, you are super dead, and then it's like, the Lazarus Pit, man. And I'm like, okay, whatever, and
there's the whole entire thing of like how each of the Teen Titans gets captured is really dumb.
Well, I mean, some of them are like have to act very, very stupid, more dumb than they normally do. Like there's a whole Kevin Smith cameo in this movie because Garfield wants to go to Kevin Smith's Smodcast, and he gets taken out there because of doing like fiddling with the microphone, which was like Deathstroke would have to know that he would fiddle with the microphone and be all like, "Oh, I'm going to sit in the chair that Kevin's gonna."
No, because there was a giant button, wasn't there?
Yeah, with like a giant button, like "Don't press" or something, and it's like, what a fucking what an elaborate why not just when he sits in it, he activates the darts and then they get him and then Nightwing has to pretend to get killed for a little bit. And then there's no tension there whatsoever.
Like, Starfire gets taken out because there's a present from Nightwing. I'm like, but you're on the phone with whatever.
Yeah, it's that doesn't make sense. Then there's the, we have all the Titans get captured, and then we realize, oh, that's right, Brother Blood is in this movie, but we've been spending so much time.
And he's like a completely different character.
He's totally different than anything we've ever seen him before, and it doesn't matter because he's just here for this one movie, and to take their powers, even though, how do you take because their powers are from, all their powers aren't magic, there's so many different fucking versions of their powers, but, he gets to access to fucking Jaime's fucking scarab. I'm like, that's alien technology. You can't just suck that into you. That doesn't make any sense. Whatever. So this one was okay. There's some good, the animation for the fight sequences is actually pretty good. Once they actually start fighting. I miss My Teen Titans. I miss Young Justice. And this is just it just pales in comparison because you can't tell the Judas contract in a movie. No. You need to tell it. You need to
care about the character.
You need to have a grand adventure. The reason it's a big deal in the comics is because she was part of the team for a really long time. She had the team's trust, and it was like, holy shit, I can't believe you betrayed the team. You can't do it with when you know that I wonder what this new character is I've never seen before right from the jump. But anyway, I think there's only 1 or 2 more to talk about here.
One more. It's
Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Hell to Pay. I liked this one.
This one was fun.
This one was probably the best out of this current batch. I probably like the original Assault on Arkham a little bit better.
Yeah.
Just because it's more focused and actually, like, out of all the movies that are trying to be adult and, like, oh, we're for adults, Assault on Arkham, I feel like, and Red Hood were the only ones to actually pull that off.
Well, it's because it doesn't go on their farcical version of adult. It's just like, we're going to tell a mature story.
Yeah. And I like that one because Assault on Arkham is fucking dirty and like it's a dirty, actually fucked up mission that they're going on, and they're killing a shit tons of people, and it's about scumbags. This one is a little lighter. It's dealing with some other weirder characters.
I mean, it's a supervillain road trip is all it really is.
That is a interesting element to throw in the Suicide Squad, is they're all in this fucking RV. That's funny. Deathstroke is again leading the team. Deadshot, I should say. Yeah, Deadshot. It's not too many fucking dead people in the goddamn. We are led by Amanda Waller, who is skinny now, which they even remark on, like, oh, since you lost that weight, you've been kind of bitchy or something. And I'm like, I don't get it. Why is Skinny Waller a thing? Why are we making Skinny Waller a thing? Like, Skinny Waller's only been Skinny Waller in the Arrowverse because CW doesn't want to hire anyone over, even slightly overweight. Like, because we have an image to maintain with the fucking CW, apparently. All of us have to look like models, no matter what. But so I get that for them, but like, why in the animated version? Like, that's what, and then they use the same voice actress,
right?
Which is like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. Forgive me for thinking it, but I think the character who is nicknamed The Wall should be a little more physically intimidating.
You shouldn't be able to just like push her aside and walk past her.
Yeah, I shouldn't feel like I should be able to pick her up and just move her aside. Like, oh, that's cute, honey.
It's like, excuse me?
Like, that's a part of her character of why she's like, I'm fucking The Wall, and then she's totally secure, and like, I don't know. I was miffed at that, but that's nitpicking or whatever. Like, I don't, it ultimately doesn't really matter. She's after this get out of hell free card, which is literally, like, it's, it's not like a mythical object that they're after, like, oh, this is a chalice once drunk by Hades, and if you drink it, you can avoid a death. No, it's literally...
It's a Monopoly card.
It is a card that says, get out of hell free, which... I love that. That's so funny. Like that that they've went so like crazy Monopoly with it. And yeah, apparently it got stolen from Dr. Fate or what's it? Yeah, Dr. Fate's fucking Sanctum Sanctorum, which as a Doctor Strange thing, I know that that's what it is, but I don't know what Dr. Fate's is called. And I like that even Fate makes a cameo in this one, and like, oh, he's actually a fucking strip.
Yeah, there's like a different Fate, and I laughed because I did call that one too.
Yeah, because you saw like he has an Ankh tattoo on his ass or something.
Yep.
And I was like, that's Dr. Fate's symbol. What's he doing with that? And like apparently the helmet fucking chose him, and I'm like, what? That's crazy. So that's cool. Team's a little different this time around. What's it? It's Killer Frost, not voiced by Jennifer Hale for I think one of the first times she hasn't done it, which I thought meant that they were going to go with a bigger story for Killer Frost, like give her a little bit of meatier role, and they wanted to give it to another actress to make it stand out, because that's I get changing the actor. I'm not inherently against it, especially if you want to do something different with her,
right?
Like it makes, but they make it seem like they might. And then don't.
Right.
Which is like, God damn it. It's an interesting one here. Like, I don't even know how much I want to spoil it, because I was genuinely shocked when it turned out who one of the main antagonists was. Because it's Vandal Savage is the one that wants the card. And he's the one that's after it. But there's a bunch of other people that are kind of, once they know about the card, they want it as well. Yeah. And one of those people is a very surprising cameo that I thought was really cool. If you've kept up with the other DC animated movies, it's really fun when he shows up. Like, what the fuck? It's and then the way they explain it is like I love this one because its tone remained consistent the whole time.
Yeah,
it's just like, okay, this is all ridiculous anyway, and we're just having fun. And yeah, I feel like I even liked what was it? Scandal Savage, dumb name and all. I liked her and her girlfriend, which is one of the Furies from Apocalypse.
Right.
I thought they would be in more of the movie, but they get taken out really quick.
Yeah.
So that was a shame. But I did like the few scenes they were on. It was like, I thought like, oh, that's interesting and fun. And then, yeah, the team has a Bronze Tiger on it, and Deadshot, Harley Quinn for, again, a reason that I cannot fathom.
No real good reason other than the fact that she's a really popular character.
Yeah, like, still don't understand. Copperhead this time around, that's different. Am I forgetting
And Captain
anybody?
Boomerang.
Boomerang. Yeah, how could I forget about Boomerang?
Because he's Captain Boomerang.
Because he's Captain Boomerang. And... yeah, the fighting in here is pretty visceral and fun. The animation style is a little kiddie, like, I don't want to say kiddier, but it's a little more smoother. It's not as jagged or, gothic as Assault on Arkham was. It's a lot brighter, a little more fun. Like, it wouldn't even look that out of place in, say, a Justice League Unlimited episode or something like that. And yeah, it's just kind of a fun ride overall.
Of this group, this one is the most enjoyable to watch. It is fully silly, but it still has it still tells a story.
Then I feel like the ending part is great, with fucking how things all shake out with the actual card. And I'm sorry, they actually did not use the same person for Amanda Waller. They actually used Vanessa Williams for Amanda Waller.
Okay.
Normally they use the other woman that voiced her in all the other shows. But that's fine. Okay. And of course we had Christian Slater as Deadshot. Not my favorite Deadshot. I like Neil McDonough. And I feel like Christian Slater should have a human emotion at some point and see what it feels like. But
that would break his core programming, Nick.
I even like that. I do like that his daughter is growing up. That, like, we get to see him and his daughter interact a little bit more as she's growing up. Like, oh, that's interesting. And we get, I like seeing that. I don't know, like, I really wish between this and Assault on Arkham, I was like, we should really have a fucking, a Suicide Squad or Task Force X TV series or an animated show.
That'd be interesting.
Like, and can you imagine, like, every season you'd cycle through new characters?
Yeah, it'd be really easy to just this actor can't come back, kill him off.
And then, we'd cameo with a bunch of I think that would be really fun. Although maybe the market isn't there for anything that's not Justice League related. But, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things that I feel would work better in a long-form storytelling than in a movie.
Yeah.
But... these movies have been pretty fun, so it's not like they aren't working.
No,
but I feel like there's more stuff to mine here. Like, as far as like maybe we could give some of these other characters some character arcs and stuff, and not just like Bronze Tiger and Deadshot, who's always seemed to get the bigger.
Yeah, we only have time for usually 2 characters at max.
Yeah, and that's such a shame considering there's like half the fun of these colorful characters is to watch them bounce off of each other, and it we don't even attempt to give Copperhead a story at all.
Yeah.
And Harley is just hanging out as a sidekick, and she doesn't even have the Joker thing that she had in Assault on Arkham to bounce off of. And
I mean, you say that there's not enough of a marker for this, but they do have a whole entire basically show on the Arrowverse of side characters.
I know, and I would really like a Legends of Tomorrow, but with just the villains and seeing what they're doing. I also don't understand why they switch out some of the other characters. Like what's it like? I mean, Copperhead. Like, I get why he's there because we need more of a body count later. Yep. But if you're gonna let some of these guys shine, maybe give them a couple more lines. I thought I kind of liked how Copperhead was a little more. I don't know. He seemed a little almost posh, sort of like he was kind of like, I don't know, like for a guy who spit acid, he was very reserved for whatever reason. I thought, and so I like that. So I'll tell you what, we were gonna end it right here then, and thank you, Travis, for joining me for this Batman animated series and watching all those animated or DC animated movies with me.
Oh, sure, it was mostly fun.
It was mostly fun. Hope maybe we'll catch up when we actually watch Gotham by Gaslight and give a redirect on that one.
As long as it's any good.
So, yeah, with that out of the way, join us next week, guys. Hopefully we see you at Convergence. Otherwise, you can always check us out on our Twitter and Facebook at UGO Podcast or Instagram. We'll send some conpics your way. And you can always subscribe to us on iTunes. Give us a review on iTunes. Those 5-star reviews really help us out with visibility, and I'll read whatever goes on the air. I'll read whatever is on there. It'll go on the air word for word. That is my guarantee. And, of course, if you want to help us out monetarily, you can always check out our Patreon page, get some Patreon exclusives, including our, movie pass or fails and some of our commentaries and all that good stuff. Other than that, we'll join you next week, guys, when we'll be doing something else. Probably our Convergence coverage, considering I think we'll be just recording just some of those sessions that we'll play.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll figure it out. We'll slap some together. It'll be great. You'll love it. Anyway, we are Unapologists Geek Out, and we're out.